Hello and welcome to Be Proud Podcast with drbeth.com. What I'm doing here is bringing on phenomenal LGBTQ successful mentors in the world. And I'm so excited tonight because I'm going to be talking to my younger cousin, Dr. Christy Halbert. And she is amazing. And we have a story from when we were younger, and we're going to kind of tease some of this out. What's the age difference between us, Christy? Welcome to the Be Proud podcast.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Good to be proud. Thanks for having me.
Yay. And what's the age difference between us? And you always get to say, I pass, I'm not going to answer. You can say whatever you want to say on that. But if you were willing to tell.
Yeah, 8 years difference.
Right on. So I thought I was so old and so wise. 8 is a few little tiny years, huh?
Well, it is now, but it wasn't when you were younger.
That's true. That's true. So tell me about you, Christy. Do you want to be called Dr. Halbert? What do you want me to call you?
I get called many things, so it's whatever you're comfortable with.
All right. And I'm going to go with Christy. So we'll just leave it at that. And Christy, tell me about your current family.
Oh, my partner and I have been, we did a union ceremony a little over 20 years ago. And
wow.
Then and then we got officially married almost 2 years ago, legally married. And then we have a daughter who is 17. And
that's what I thought. She was 17.
Entering her final year of high school, yeah.
And
we have a little dog.
Okay, yeah, don't leave him out. Him or her?
Her, don't leave her out.
Okay, yeah. All right, excellent. Girls all around. So, Christy, what do? You are a famous boxer. You've brought boxing to the Olympics. You're an author, speaker. I mean, you just rock. So tell us all about yourself. Brag, brag, brag.
Well, my formal training is in sociology and mass communication. So in college, I studied film and video production. And then I went to graduate school and studied sociology and got my master's and PhDs. And then started working out, in the real world, doing a variety of things. And I was teaching some, but also doing some research and some consulting. And currently, I have a nonprofit boxing gym where I'm the director and the head coach. And then I've got some consulting gigs that I do as well. That's what really pays the bills for me. The nonprofit is a labor of love. There are no part-time or full-time employees. The only person that is paid out of the money for our nonprofit is the bookkeeper. So I am very proud. We're very proud that we use all the money that comes in for our programs, for our programming. And so I've got that going on, and the consulting work, and I write a little bit and speak a little bit and teach coaches, and I kind of dabble in a lot of different things, I guess.
You sound like a Halbert.
Yeah, I think that, I was going to say, I think it's also kind of the way of the world right now, too. I don't know a lot of people that just have one job anymore. It seems like more and more you're kind of like job sharing, I guess, is a common thing.
Well, Christy, this is so much fun to get to see you as the adult you. And I have so many stories on you as a child I will promise not to tell. And you do the same.
Yeah, right. Well, I maybe you should also tell your viewers because they're seeing this on video, right? So
Yes.
yeah, so I apologize that my video is turned off because I suffer from pretty intense allergies that affect my eyes, and so tonight I've got a little Popeye thing going on. I got one eye that's completely closed and the other one that's trying to close. So I apologize. I'm not worthy of video tonight. So everybody's got 100% Beth.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to do this again, and you can show up in your gorgeous glory.
Yeah.
So, Christy, you gave me the hardest workout of my life as a boxing trainer, exercise coach. And I am in awe of what you have accomplished living in Nashville, Tennessee. I hit the bricks and went to California. I was so petrified. You are at Vanderbilt University, where I did valuing diversity. It was not okay to be gay. It was not okay to be anything but white male, basically. And you live there, you're doing it. How have you done it?
Well, I guess I don't see, like a lot of people will say, for example, oh, the South is so conservative or, so biased. And I guess I don't see it that way. When I travel to the North or I travel to the West or something, I see
Just as
unfortunate,
much?
excuse me, yeah, I see the discrimination and I see the racism and the sexism and the homophobia. I think wherever you are, I think your experience is going to be based on the people that you surround yourself with. And so my experience in this large metropolitan city has been a very positive one. And even when I travel to smaller towns, I it, being gay has certainly been a challenge, like professionally, but being a woman has been a challenge professionally as well. So
Which do you
I
think has been more difficult?
being a woman,
I,
yeah.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, I mean, if you read, like I think I was in graduate school, I read Suzanne Farr's book. I think her last name is Pharr, if I'm remembering correctly. But she has a book called like Homophobia is a Weapon of Sexism. And she really lays out the argument that you cannot have homophobia if sexism doesn't exist. In other words, the sexism comes first and the homophobia is derived from that. And
I completely get what you're talking about. Yeah, makes sense. Haven't thought of it that way. So let's go back in time when you came out and you found out that I was gay. Talk to me about what was the layout?
well, I don't remember finding out that you were gay. I there. I don't think there was ever a moment that all of a sudden it was revealed, or if it was. I see. I might be mixing things up, so I don't want to. I don't want to like speculate on what and how I think it happened if I can't remember it really well. Because sometimes I have memories of memories. I'd
Right.
rather it be a firsthand memory. But I loved your first major girlfriend that you had, and so did my sister. And y'all would, we would do social things together. Y'all would take us out for, I don't know, I don't remember, like ice cream, or I think you took us hiking and stuff like that.
Boating.
Yeah, we loved her. Loved
Yes,
her.
she's wonderful. We were together
Yes.
off and on for 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah. She was really cool and fun and all that. So
And so
I
you
think,
just knew Christy?
no, not just new, but I think again, I just can't remember the specifics, but once once I did find out for sure that you were gay, I remember thinking, well, I like who she's gay with, so for me it was like, well, that makes sense, they
Hmm.
seem compatible, they're a good match, whatever. I don't remember how old I was, so I can't remember exactly what those thoughts were, but I remember
So I
thinking
was
that it made
14.
sense.
I was 14. So you were real young.
Oh, well, I didn't know about it then. I mean, I'm talking about
Hmm.
later. Like I was probably a teenager,
When I
maybe.
came back from college.
Yeah, I bet that was true. I bet that was it. Yeah, yeah,
And when did you realize that you were gay? And do you identify as gay?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Um, I don't know for sure. I mean, you know, I think it's common to like recognize that there's something different going on, and um, back in our day, there was no internet. There were no resources, to speak of. So I just knew that I was different. And then I had like homophobic coaches, like sport coaches, and other homophobic people in my life. And so they would make enough comments that I knew that if I was leaning that way at all, I needed to, at the very least, keep it to myself, that it would not be accepted.
They
Um,
said that to you?
that no, they never said anything specific to me, but it was like comments that were made. Like I had a basketball coach that would talk about colleges. Like there were a couple of girls that maybe wanted to play in college, and she would make comments about, well, you don't want to go to this school because they've got a dyke for a coach, or they've got a lot of gay players, that kind of thing. Um,
Hmm.
Queer as a $2 bill was something that people were saying, back then. And so those kind of comments. And then a lot of times if there was a girl that was out, I usually didn't, uh, at least who I was exposed to, my thinking at the time was, well, that I don't think that's what I'm interested in, so I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to be necessarily associated with some of the people that maybe were out at the time. um, and I'm not remembering any specifics here, I'm sorry, but that's kind of just the general sort of feeling that I had, I guess.
Well, when I was young, I didn't know of anyone that was gay in my entire world, probably until I was 20 something, maybe 22 or 3.
Wow.
I felt so weird, bizarre. I thought if I could just stop loving this one young girl, I could be normal again. And I remember a time, I think you were 30, and you were angry with me about not coming out to you, not supporting you. Do you remember that conversation?
Well, you said something about this not too long ago, and I see. I don't remember that. What I remember is that you, it must have been around the same age, that you said to me, "Are you mad at me for not being a role model for you, or helping pave the way, or being supportive of you?" Or you know, you kind of framed it like that. And I thought my response was, well, it would have been easier. It would have been a lot easier, if somebody had said, "Hey, I think this is going on." But back in that day, and I don't really know how things are now, but back in that day, everyone was so afraid of, no one wanted to be a mentor because you would be accused of
Turning,
turning someone gay.
getting a toaster.
Yeah. So
Well,
so
that
I
was
I I understood. So I don't
absolutely.
I don't think I was angry. I'm thinking you are putting that on yourself.
I'm totally willing to be wrong about that. And it is completely how I remember it.
Yeah.
So who knows what is the reality?
Well,
Uh,
did you have guilt over that?
I don't remember having guilt. I did the best I could. I was scared to death that your mom and dad would think that I turned you gay. Um, I just didn't have any way to know how to talk to you about it. I knew you were gay or assumed you were gay from a young age, very stereotypically, which is not always true.
Right.
Um, but I had remembered having the conversation where you were feeling really angry and frustrated that I had not been more supportive. I'm glad that you have a new version of that, and I'm totally willing to be wrong about my version.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because we had our union ceremony when I was 28, so um, I don't think I would have said that after I had already been married. I That sounds like something
I
a
made up.
person. No, no, it sounds like something a person would say out of feeling isolated. You know. So maybe I did say a version of that, but I would have been younger, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may have been. Do you remember when you came to California? How old you were when you came out here?
Yeah, I was probably, I think I was like, yeah, 30, 31. Yeah, somewhere,
Okay.
somewhere around in there, 30, 31. Yeah.
Well, when we talked, you were not still mad. You were just saying that when it happened, you were feeling frustrated.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, you were not still in it at
Okay.
all.
I got you.
That it just felt isolated and alone, and it would have really been helpful had I, been there for you, which is part of why I'm doing this call and doing this Be Proud podcast, is so that no one has to go through what I went through, what you went through, or any of the other children that feel like they're in total isolation and don't have anybody that's super successful like us to pave the way. So I'm very
Well,
grateful.
do you think that once a person identifies as gay and is out, that they have a responsibility to mentor? Do you feel that now?
Ooh, I would not put that on anyone. And yes, I would love that we could all support each other. And
Hmm.
that really has to be an individual journey.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of people in my life that have invited to be a part of this Be Proud. Some are willing and some aren't. And I'm
Yeah.
going to love them exactly where they are. And yes, I would love for us all to be supportive for the younger generation.
And see, you're probably mostly communicating with people that are in California, right? So
Yes.
so when
Well,
you fled Tennessee, your thinking was, oh, the grass is greener, but people in California can experience absolutely at least as much discrimination or homophobia or whatever as people in any other state, I think.
yeah, and as a matter of fact, the first night that I did this Be Proud event, when I got off the call, I bawled. I mean,
Mm,
I just bawled and I was like, wow, where did all those feelings come from? Had no idea that I had that much fear and
yeah.
built up
Yeah.
anxiety about this process.
Well, let's back up for just a second. So when you, or go back, I mean, so you said you started dating your first girlfriend when you were 14, basically. Did you
Yeah.
tell your parents then?
Yes. I came out when maybe 6 months later, and I said, guess what? I'm madly in love. We have the same kind of relationship that you have. I want you to be happy. And my mom and dad flipped. I mean, just lost it. Um, I always tease that mom gave me a Quaalude or a something, and she took one and off to Dr. Burl West's office, a friend psychologist, and we went at midnight. And Burl said, I don't think there's anything wrong with her. And that wasn't good enough. I mean, my parents still went on. And then I spent the next 15 years trying to fix myself. 11
Yeah.
years of analysis on the couch 4 days a week, trying to figure out what was wrong with me and how to be normal.
Well, and I will tell you that, you know, as a as your younger cousin, you know, obviously I didn't know when you were 14, but at some point later, it did register with me that you had some pain, that there was something not that unsettled, I guess,
Oh, yeah.
that you were feeling unsettled. And
Yeah.
like, you know, some of your um experiences or journey, you know, part of the journey that you would share and stuff, you know, sometimes I would think, well, that doesn't make sense, you know, you know, I didn't know enough to really appreciate what was really going on. I just kind of sensed that you were unsettled, I guess.
Yeah, there were at least 15 years that mom and dad said things like, let's just don't tell anybody. Let's keep this a secret. Let's just stay in denial. I mean, literally saying that. And um, it was a rough time. And I kept breaking up with Melissa, and I was with all sorts of therapy and group and on and on and on. Now, today, that has made me who I am. It's been the gift and the pain that has brought me so much love and compassion for everybody else that's going through similar situations. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was a rough ride.
Well, I think it's made me a better parent. I know that for sure.
Tell me why.
So, well, because you know, I think people that say, "Oh, your kids can intuit this or that," you know, I think they can. I think young kids, especially, can pick up on like your mood, you know,
Mhm.
and because they're going to read your body, they're going to read your facial expressions, you know, all of that. But I'm a big believer that you also have to say the words. And so one thing that I've always said to our daughter ever since she was very, very small is um, I want you to always be honest with me. And it is true that you may do something that I don't like. There may be a behavior that I disapprove of or that I don't like, but I will always love you. So it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. It does not matter what you do. That will never change. And we can separate my concerns with your behavior from the fact that I love you. And I think that's been something that's been, you know, one of the pillars of our relationship and allowed us to have a strong, open relationship.
Well, and I would also say I always knew mom and dad loved me. That was not the question. I felt like I was not a good girl. Like I felt bad, wrong, evil, sick, off. And so it was less about love. I always knew they loved me, but not having their approval just broke my heart.
Well, and that's probably part of also being the older child too, right? There's
Hmm.
some of that's got to be mixed in there.
Yeah, with you too.
Oh yeah.
So, do you feel that you have the approval of your mom and dad?
Yes, I do.
And did you from the get go?
Well, no, I didn't feel it from the get-go. No, it took them about a year to finally come around to being able to talk about um, where I was in my journey, I guess you would call it. So I came out to them, and then
How
about a
old were
year.
you?
I was 25. I waited until I was 25
You're
because
smart.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. It might be smarter than 14, but I don't know. There's got to be a sweeter spot somewhere in between there, I think.
No,
But
I think in an ideal world, you'd be able to be yourself from 2, 3, 7, 14, change
right,
your
right, yeah,
mind, and have your parents be able to go through the journey with you.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Fluidity would be nice. Yes, sure.
yeah. And I actually remember being in the car with your mom talking about you coming out to her.
Oh,
And and even with the boxing and your whole you talk about your mom and how your relationship with her and how fabulous she is and how different you two are.
well, I wouldn't trade my parents for anybody. I love them, and
Absolutely. I do too.
I any I mean they're just anyone that knows them um, knows that they're quality people, and
Yes.
I think they're good role models for me, and I want to be the kind of parents that they're the kind of parent that they have been to me. So when I'm searching for something, what do I say, or what should my reaction be to something? They are my role models,
And do you
without
feel
a
like
doubt.
you are like your mom?
Yes, I do. I feel like I'm like both my parents. But yes, absolutely, I think I'm like my mother, and
Even with your
not in
boxing.
some ways. Well, yeah, I mean that's what I was going to say is not in every single way. I mean, I haven't walked exactly in the footprints that she left. That she walks in front of me. I haven't stepped in exactly in those footprints. But I don't think that's what
The goal
we.
is.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
But we do share the same. I think we share the same value system, and I think that's what's most important. And so,
And do
yeah,
you
I mean, and the boxing stuff. You know, I was thinking about this not too long ago that I think for me coming out was very difficult because I was stereotypical gay in so many ways, and I think it's harder, at least from my perspective, harder to come out when you fit those stereotypes, because then it feels like people can then point and kind of like, yeah, I told you so, or whatever. um,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
but I don't think those kinds of things made me gay, or I think I was just very comfortable in the non-traditional gender activities, because I was not at all consumed with trying to be attractive to boys and men, and so it didn't
Mhm.
limit me at all. And so I was drawn to unusual things back in that day. And then as I got older, I started feeling a sense of duty that uh, if I had a skill set that could help other women in a field like boxing, where they had virtually no resources when I was coming up, that's what really I just felt a sense of duty that I had to be a resource for them. And so that's when I kind of stopped doing everything else for myself in terms of competing and everything, and started turning to coaching and then the advocacy work. So
And how
uh,
many boxing rounds have you won? You're champion of the world, right?
no, I never had a world championship. I did tough man contests, and I did one illegal amateur bout. I'm pretty sure it was illegal. And then I had technically 5 pro fights, and I won them all. But I was
Undefeated.
there. You go. But I was doing that as a poor graduate student, and
I
as I
know it.
was as I was finishing my PhD work, I just had to put a stop to the boxing, because the two worlds couldn't coexist. To train as a boxer is really difficult, and I had also broken my leg, and it
Oh
was
my
just
gosh.
like the kind of the planets aligned. It was time for me to stop competing and then turn my attention to coaching and advocacy. I think it was the right move. You know, in hindsight, it was probably the correct move anyway.
Well, Christy, I am so proud to be in the family with you. I always just am enamored by you, your wife, your adorable, brilliant daughter, and I love your parents. They have been such an inspiration and a support for me through my whole life. And of course, your sweet sister as well. But I just really am grateful that we have been together and we have been on this journey. And I'd love to do more with you.
I know. I'd love to. I'd love it too. I don't know why you insist on living all the way in California.
Well, lucky for you, we have phones, Zoom,
That's right.
and most of the time we could actually even see each other. You could open your eyes.
Yeah, that's right.
But I love you so much, cuz.
I love you too, Beth.
Just for the record, if there's ever anything I've ever done to you, not enough, I would so be willing to clean it up. You are, you just mean the world to me.
Well, I feel the
So,
same way, Beth. If there's ever anything I can do for you, or would you say clean up?
yes.
I'm
I,
100% on board.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, we're all cool on my end. And I would love for you to come apart and be a part of these Be Proud events. Let people ask you questions because you are the bomb diggity of a role model. And I want to just ask you one last question. Are you going to be okay if your daughter is gay, straight, trans, or whatever?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
So you would have no impact whatsoever. You have no desire for her.
No, my concern for her is that I want her to be fulfilled. I want her to be happy, and I think I of course I want her to have like a not an easy life, but you know what I mean, like easier instead of like a more difficult life, I guess.
Hmm.
So so yeah, if she came out to me, certainly I would. Those are the kinds of conversations that I would have with her. Not about are you sure or um, uh, that kind of thing, but more, well, let's, if that's the case, then let's talk about how you can be your most authentic self, but in a supported environment and in a supported community too, because I think that's a big part of it. Is you got to find the right community and surround yourself with the right kind of people. Um, and if you can do that, even if it's a small group, it doesn't have to be a big group.
Right.
uh, but even if it's a small group, it's so much more fulfilling as a person to be in authentic relationships with
Yeah.
people that really do care about you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is what my book is about, embracing defiance, helping your child express their authentic voice while keeping your sanity. And I know for your mom, when you said I'm boxing, it scared her to death in that moment. And I know she could not be more proud of you. She raves and raves about you all this time. So, some of those moments as a parent, we need to create that support, and especially your parents being a part of PFLAG and doing their part to make such a huge difference and make the South a safer place for parents and teens. So
Yeah,
grateful.
they're doing great work out here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I
Yeah.
always like to say, what's your one word out, or if there's any way you want to have people able to get a hold of you, or anything you want to say, sky's the limit.
I don't have social media, so I can't give any handles or whatever. I feel so old when I say that.
That's
But
okay.
if anybody wants to find me, it's actually pretty easy. They can Google my name or boxing in Nashville, and I'll come up. So they can track me down that way. But I just want to thank you, Beth, for being out and proud and putting the video together and doing the stuff that you're doing. And you've always been my big cousin, and I've always been proud of you, and I continue to be proud of you to this day.
Oh, well, we will be proud together.
All right.
Love you so much, cuz. All right,
Love you too, Beth.
Rock us out. Thank you so much for joining. If you have a topic or you want to be a superstar or challenge or anything that you want to bring up, this is your forum to be safe, be loved, be accepted, and let's keep the conversation going. This is Dr. Beth Halbert, and you can find me at drbeth@drbeth.com. Bye, everybody.